I probably don't need a mic, to be honest. All my teachers at school tell me that I have no concept of an inside voice. So when we started this, as a collective group, we chose water as our theme for this service, and Caroline, myself, and Rob, we started to discuss what does water mean, I guess, in symbolism, literature, the Bible, our lives. When we think of water, what really comes to mind? Personally, I saw water as somewhat of a double meaning, both this destructive force, but at the same time, a bringer of change. I wanted to focus a little bit on that destructive part, but also on the idea of change, what change means in our lives, for young kids, and the changes that we've experienced in our ways. Water, I say most likely in the Bible is referenced as associated with change or a cleanse of some sorts. But the Bible also really does a good job of balancing both ideas of destruction and change. For instance, Revelation 22 reads, "Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, bright as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb." But then, on the opposite side, most famously, Genesis 7, "For after 7 days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made." I'm assuming all of you here know the story of Noah's Ark. But I found it incredibly interesting how the Bible juggles both ideas quite well throughout, and kind of shifting water as like a change and a destructive force kind of flip-flops at times. But I saw it, especially with the story of Noah's Ark, water as a destructive force, but it was used for a better purpose. It was the intent of creating something new, something better, to kind of cleanse the earth in a way and bring apart this great new changing point in the world. And the idea of like the changing point, I'm sure on a much, much smaller scale, every single one of us individually have experienced some sort of changing point in our lives, be that with a tragedy or a new opportunity, or simply taking the time to broaden your horizon or experience something new, opening yourself to those different ideas. And I don't hesitate to assume for a large majority, if not all, of the kids who have gone on work camp, that represents, to at least a small degree, a changing point in their lives. I know personally, I'm a strong believer in there are a few key moments in our lives that really shift our views of ourselves and how we see ourselves in the world, our position in the world. And personally, I really see work camp as one of those key shifting points in my life. And I'm not sure, I honestly can't speak for everyone else, but it's become a bit of a work camp cliche at this point to say the kids who leave on work camp come back different people. But I honestly think that couldn't be more true. There's something about just going out and experiencing all kinds of new people and getting in touch with your religious self, and there's just something about that experience that really helps to just shift our views in the world. And honestly, I'm really excited for those kids who are about to be confirmed, because if you guys decide to go on work camp, I don't know if you quite understand how momentous work camp is. Like it's people kind of bring it up as this great, it's a great experience. These 2 weeks to go and do service and really connect as a group, but you don't really. I know personally, I've just started to realize how much of a driving force of change work camp has been in my life, and you really don't wrap your mind around that. That really doesn't become apparent until your second or your third year, when you look back at who you were your freshman year, and at those points in which you look back and you say, I'm a million miles away from who I was my freshman year, and each of those work camps has been a pivotal point of change. And coincidentally, a lot of our work camp moments revolve around water. And as Caroline said, her sophomore year, my sophomore year as well, we went to Charleston, South Carolina. But my freshman year, I remember specifically, we have spirituals. So that's when we get together as a group, and We talk about, usually it's a religious theme, some sort of verse or scripture, but throughout the 2 weeks that we're there, we really discuss what that scripture means in our lives, and often with a theme attached to it. But I remember specifically, we took a trip as a group to a state park of sorts, and we had one of our spirituals at this state park that had this humongous waterfall, and like every year since, water has been some sort of, whether subconsciously or not, water has been something that we've really been attracted to at work camp. Caroline referenced in Erie, we might go to Niagara Falls over the weekend. Who knows? That's a big body of water. But I also remember our freshman year, we also happened to coincidentally get in a little bit of trouble at that state park, and a few of us decided that we wanted to climb a mountain after that scripture. But every year we experience at work camp something new. We meet all kinds of amazing and passionate people along the way, and I'd like to say that we learn a thing or two about ourselves. But work camp is definitely, I think of time, if you think of time in this just straight line with these memories of sorts, dot along the way. Personally, work camp represents one of those most prominent and just apparent dots. And I'm honest to say that people who have gone to work camp, my dad, for instance, references work camp all the time. When I was a kid, we did this and that, and we went here and all that. sometimes it's like, all right, Dad, we get it. It's not the same. But yeah, work camp, it's special. And when I was sitting here writing this sermon, I had the hardest time trying to figure out how to wrap this up. Should I end in a Bible verse, some sort of pithy statement, some relatable quote from Seinfeld, but then I realized, how does the airing of grievances followed by the feats of strength really relate to the Bible? But I thought I ought to take the opportunity to, while I have this microphone, to thank just as a whole, this church community for supporting the youth and our work camp. I know each year it means a lot that to us as a group in our entirety that we have your support. I know every single student here appreciates to the utmost degree, and personally, I can't thank you all enough. That's all I have, so thank you for your time.